Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, gonna wet my whistle again. Okay, this time we're going to be taking a look at this, which is Nukla number 1, 1965, from Dell Comics. And this is one of the few superhero titles from Dell Comics. And Nukla, because they didn't have very many of this, so Nukla was a fictional superhero character from Dell Comics, created by Joe Gill, who's the writer, and artist Sal Trapani, debuting in Nukla number 1 in 1965. That's this issue here. The title only ran for 4 issues in 65 and 66. The final one was drawn by Steve Ditko. I have another issue which I came across the other day. Now I don't remember where it was. It's issue 2 or 3, I think. Anyway, his alter ego. Oh, I wanted to say, because the final issue was drawn by Steve Ditko, as I said. Now, the thing is, the creator of this is Joe Gill. Joe Gill, with Steve Ditko, created Captain Atom for Charlton Comics. And Nukla is basically a ripoff of Captain Atom with some significant changes. And he's also similar to Gold Key's Dr. Solar, Man of the Atom. Again, very similar. Okay, his alter ego was Matthew Gibbs, a CIA pilot of the U-2 spy planes who would fly over Soviet and Chinese territory to gather intelligence. On one such flight over China, a new weapon system was used to shoot him down using low-level nuclear weapons, which alone wouldn't have been a thing because that, well, just didn't understand the concept of nukes and the politics involved. Nuclear weapons. Unexpectedly, very unexpectedly, he survived the blast and was able, because he was vaporized, that he was able to reconstitute his own body. Gee, that sounds familiar. As well as his aircraft. So his U-2 plane becomes as much a character in the stories as anything. Blessed with atomic powers, he was able to retaliate against the ground forces. And thereafter, he uses his new nuclear powers to combat enemies of the USA. Or perceived enemies, anyway. And here in this, you can see here on the cover, Nukla, the first action-packed adventure of the greatest superhero on Earth. Read the exciting origin of Nukla. How did he come to be? And how will his powers help him against the evilest man in the world? Well, we'll see, won't we? We shall see. And I wanted to say, regarding the artwork, this is Trapani. I gather primarily the penciler he used in these books several uncredited assistants, and one of them was apparently a young Dick Giordano. So, yeah, Dick Giordano from DC Comics, all the Batman stuff. Yeah, with him. Okay, so we'll, and you can kind of, and in some of the panels you can see it looks like Dick Giordano. Okay, and inside cover, in case the reader doesn't know what the U2 is, here is basically an illustrated article on the U2 spy plane. And it's but one thing in this story that that they're kind of overlooking, really overlooking some great work on these aircraft, but they're sacrificing for some realism for the sake of the story, in that the U2 aircraft, to save weight and stuff, it took special equipment to both launch and land a U2 aircraft, which they don't show, and he have him just landing anywhere. He would not have been able to take off. Anyway, okay, so here is this good rendering here of this submarine, and it's introducing the character here, and he's living the life like James Bond here. Then here he is on a mission, because he's taken to a special airfield by submarine, so he can do this special spy flight. When, from what I understand, they primarily took off and landed in what we now know as Area 51. It's a really nice rendering. I don't know how accurate it is. I try to look up some photos of the cockpit, and it looks good. All the dials and stuff, the text looks good. Everything in here looks good. There's some really fine artwork. And here he is overflying, and there they've taken launching these ground-to-air missiles. They were brand new, because one of the aspects of the U2 was that it flew so high that they could not be shot down. Well, that happened. I really think this part of this concept of this story was inspired by the 1960 Francis Gary Powers U2. I keep wanting to say YouTube. U2 spy plane pilot who was shot down over the Soviet Union, 1960, and was released in, I think it was 1963, with a prisoner exchange. There he is, kablooey, and the whole thing, because it was a nuclear thing. Kablooey, and they're all happy. Yay, we got him. And here he is. We see him. Well, he's invisible. And here he is reconstituting himself. And then and he doesn't understand what's going on. What the heck? And he sees that this would not work, because he doesn't have the cameras and stuff, so he can see clearly on the ground. They take photographs. He overflies the site, and then the special cameras take pictures, which are then analyzed back on the ground. Anyway, the drawing of this hand is really, really lovely. He points his finger, and kablooey! They're all taken care of. The launch site and all the soldiers and stuff, which is odd, because kablooey. Well, part of the reason it prompted this was because he saw that they were going to shoot all the technicians and all the laborers there who set the thing up so that they couldn't talk to anybody about it, and then he just destroyed them as well. And now he's baffled and about his stuff. He makes contact, radio contact, but he doesn't tell him what happened. He said, "Oh, we thought we're glad to hear that you were alive. We heard you was killed." And now, as the actual target he was there to photograph was this missile launch base. And so, instead of, like he's supposed to do, just take pictures, well, he blows that up too. And then there's some more interceptors. He of course he doesn't know his powers. When he phases out this is when he has access to his powers. When he phases out, becomes invisible, and he takes his plane with him. He's out of phase, and the missiles go right through him. That's when he can also zap stuff. But he's pretty much normal when he's fully physical. And then here he is, a Russian interceptor comes after him, and he forces that plane down to follow him because he demonstrates. So he forces them to go with him, and they land at a base. This is stuff that really looks like Dick Giordano in the inking. And he happens to know the commanding officer there. He gets in contact with Clarkson, his boss in the CIA, and then the colonel wants to have a word with him, but open the door, and the guy's gone. Because he snuck out using his powers and had the U-2 plane invisible. Then he just takes off. Boom. And I go, oh. So when he lands at another one, he wants to stop him for question. He has to pop out, and he pops back in his own apartment. This is at home because he wants to report to his superior first before anyone else can talk with him about it. He gets there and he informs his boss about what happened to him, gives him a little demonstration. Then this is when he gets basically his first assignment. And this is when he gets the name Nukla. There's this Luis de Mal. He's a big weapons dealer, and he's taken over this fictitious small Caribbean country, and he flies down there, hides, and is under a fictitious name. Just goes right in to talk with this fellow, and he is surprised and gratified at this guy's brazenness. So he tests him with his bravery with a big cat, a panther that he's got there, a black jaguar, and a cobra. But he's going to stop him, but before he got to the cobra, because his hand was kind of mauled a little bit by the cat, but he was bitten by the cobra, and then I'll call my own doctor, see if we can help. But before they can get there, he's invisible again, because when he's basically impervious when he's in his basic phantom form, and has to stay long enough that then the venom is basically purged from his body. He reappears. He says, "Where have you been? What happened?" Yada yada yada. And we'll have the pretty ladies and stuff. And he said, "Hey, I'll tell you what's going on with my plan." Yada. Then he has this lovely lady who is actually the royal leader, the rightful leader of this country, and he has made her a slave, and serving them. But then what the food and drinks were drugged, and he knocks him out before he can phase out to neutralize him. He wakes up in a prison cell. This is when he has learned that he's got to contact his people, because this guy is going to set up a war between. He's going to have these bombers, remote-controlled bombers, act like they're going to come and bomb New York City, and then, but they are going to be blown up, so it looks like the Americans took care of, dealt with them, and then the country that he has a nuclear device in the harbor of the capital city of the small fictitious country that he is blaming it on. It will go off. That will blame the U.S. and lots of people start confusion and war and yada yada yada. Well, he wakes up and the guy's going to shoot him because he's trying to get out, and he phases out. They don't take care of the guy. He's kind of angry, so he blasts the main door of the prison, gets to his plane and flies off and zaps the palace where the bad guy lived. And he had all these servants and stuff. I mean, yeah, his soldiers, him, his goons, yeah. But again, he just blew up a whole bunch of innocent people. Then he flies I don't know how this plane has all this fuel. Flies, intercepts those bombers heading to New York, blows them up, then heads back down to the Caribbean to find and here are the reports, witnesses seeing those planes blow up. Gets down to that country. He doesn't know what ship it's on. He lands on a road, and he's already been exhausted, so he can't phase out right at the moment. He has to recover. Heads to one of the just towards the ships. Well, the goons on the ship think rightly. He's attacking them. That's how he identifies what ship. Then he does attack them, and they start shooting him. His boat is blown up, but he's dived underwater, climbs up on the other side. No telling how he actually climbed up the side without a Jacob's ladder, and then he's in a big action fight with all these goons. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, taking them out, and he heads to the hold. This is where the bomb is. Now these goons obviously do not know what they're doing. They're just there to protect the ship, and they're goons. They know there's something going on, but they don't know that they're about to be blown up by this atomic bomb. He gets at it. Oh, and he can't. Can he defuse it? No, he can't. No, what he does, and there he is. He's about to be shot. He has to phase out again, and then using his powers, he alters the molecular structure of the fissionable material in the bomb, making it inert, making it silicon, so that it doesn't blow up. And then he takes off, flies back to his plane, because he can fly for short distances in his outphased form. Gets on the plane and flies back a hero. It's a rather convoluted story. It was interesting, fun reading. I can see why it didn't last more than a few issues. It's good for a few issues, I think, but not as an ongoing story. But I kind of like the design of the character. His costume is based on very loosely based on the concept of the pressure suit that he would have had to have worn as a U-2 pilot. U-2 pilot. U-2, not YouTube. Okay, that's all I had to share with you this time. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of Nukla. Have you seen or read any of these? Have you read any of the other characters that he's a knockoff of? That is Man of the Atom and Captain Atom. Any of those, and compare them to. I think they were overall done better. This is pure propaganda, but it is fun reading. So thank you for joining me, and remember, comics are art.